Chapter 22. Sometimes the bear eats you. When I finished doing long-time clinical work as a network chiropractor and acupuncturist, I wrote a book summarizing my views on healthcare and what I feel genuine healing entails. It's titled, Don't Waste Pain, because many of my patients needed encouragement to explore the complexities of having something go wrong in their lives and bodies. I wanted not to just relieve people of their physical challenges, but to explore those challenges and investigate the causes and the opportunities pain inherently includes. Within dis-ease is an invitation that can open your heart to the joy of presence and compassion and teach what matters, which is love. Pain can be the can opener to open our hearts. Pain exposes how frequently we hide out in sort of an ignorant comfort zone. By ignorance, I don't mean unintelligent or uneducated. The ability to ignore takes a lot of intelligence. One has to fend off all that poignancy and connectedness that constantly threatens to expose ego's fallacy of existence. It takes a lot of intelligence to protect the illusion of self. And within pain is the invitation to learn. First and foremost, it's a reminder that the body lasts for a limited time. Even a hangnail carries the message of impermanence. In Tibetan Buddhism, adepts sing songs in appreciation of their pain, as pain is considered to be the highest teacher, the most difficult to face with humor and kindness. When you poke holes in pain and the identity that pain creates, it's a huge relief. In general, we don't learn much when we're comfortable. Pain humbles us, helps us reset our priorities, and teaches us the universal truth of suffering. Till now, we've been poking holes and creating space in the seeming solidarity of our identities. We do this using humor, presence, and kindness, because these techniques create spaciousness of mind and the ability to see the permeability of what we thought was solid. Sarah E. Lewis, in Spacious Minds, Trauma and Resilience in Tibetan Buddhism, translates the Tibetan understanding of resilience as spaciousness of mind, an investment in resting in your oceanic space, your nature, and not in the illusion of being a separate wave. Pain is perhaps the best evidence that the mind and body are in cahoots. We have emotions about being diseased. We feel exasperated or livid, and we get attached to some part of our story about being diseased. The physical problem has tentacles into our identity. Many times, disease is the physical expression of repressed stories and emotions that we hold in our bodies, including our fear of death, which is most always streaming somewhere in our minds. It's usually something we don't want to face, so the body feels or manifests what the disease has been holding for us. There's a wise saying in holistic care, you can't heal what you can't feel. Herbert Benson, the renowned Harvard professor who pioneered mind-body medicine, says that 80% of disease is related to mental stress. In Don't Waste Pain, I interviewed a cardiac surgeon who said without hesitation that there's an emotional component to 100% of his patient's heart disease. While you're trying to get rid of pain, also try to be curious about it. Ask yourself what you're learning from the disease. Ask the symptom to tell you what caused it and how you can respond to it. Might seem a little new agey to be talking about your pain, but I'll wager you'll get some sort of answer in words, in an image, or in a dream. In Chinese medicine, pain and dysfunction are understood as imbalance or stuck energy. This is a huge generalization, but the most common symptoms, among female patients were headaches, allergies, and gynecological problems. Men frequently presented with sleep issues, heart issues, and lower back pain. In our society, women have a complicated relationship with their body image. Compounding the unrealistic ideals of female beauty that burden women, a Centers for Disease Control survey found that 1 in 5 women have been raped, and a Quinaptic University study reported that 60% of women and 20% of men have been sexually harassed. Those traumas get stored in the body. Men's symptoms often derive from emotional repression. It's not cool to show fear. Don't ask for directions because that would show you don't know where you are. Body issues aren't always just going away with only physical interventions. In the Western medical approach, we accept that stress and worry may cause tension headaches, but we haven't allowed for the possibility that thoughts can manifest as many other ailments. Western medicine is still pretty certain the body is a complicated car and that we can fix it through mechanics or chemistry. In general, pain solidifies our mind-body identity in two ways. One is the sensation itself, and the other is our commentary about it and antipathy toward it. We experience and then we resist. But pain is not our enemy, and we are not something solid that pain invades. We can de-solidify the pain by de-solidifying the self experiencing it. Play with your pain. Don't buy the seductive separation of me and my pain. A friend was attending a Tibetan blessing ritual in blistering Colorado heat, and the monks all had on their burgundy wool made for the cold of the Himalayas. He commented to one monk on how uncomfortable he must be. The monk smiled and said, "Oh, no, I'm quite happy, but my body is rather warm." The monk didn't identify the discomfort of the body. Mindfulness techniques help us call a truce with pain. We call off the war on two fronts, the pain and the commentary about it. Instead of resisting or fighting, we allow ourselves simply to feel the discomfort, to go into the sensation rather than trying to avoid it. Then we label the sensation hot, burning, sharp, dull, throbbing, relentless, etc. Labeling allows us to experience discomfort from the perspective of a detached observer and can shift the experience from something we need to fight to something we just witnessed. Creating space in our mind can dramatically lessen the pain and also give us insight into its message. Another way we can ennoble pain and ourselves is by experiencing it as a form of helping others. Think of all the people suffering from the same pain right now and say, "May I experience this pain, this disease, so deeply that others might be free of it." Get crazy noble about alleviating the suffering of others. This technique can lead to the practice of Tonglen, which I explain in the chapter 42, EMT. More and more, my go-to medicine is hosting. Host your pain. Treat it like an honored guest and let it have the run of your house. Give it all the room it needs to misbehave and wreak all sorts of havoc. Watch neutrally, holding space without judgment, being the perfect host. When it's not judged and given space in which to terrorize, the pain will exhaust itself or shift to what can be a surprising experience. I taught numerous visualizations at my clinic, from cleansing, purifying visualizations to a deep practice called Medicine Buddha. Imagine a pain-free future or even mentally creating another body that's pain-free. The aim is to diffuse our solid identifications with body and self. This is a big idea to relax into. It was also frustrating for those patients who, having attended a workshop or read a book about how meditation or visualization might heal them, would reject sound Western medical techniques to support their self-healing efforts. Placebos, visualizations, mental and emotional releases are sometimes effective, but they can create unrealistic expectations. These patients suffered doubly from the disease and then from failing to heal themselves. Still, sometimes the above techniques are effective for working with pain and disease. And of course, meditation can be helpful to ameliorate pain and even contribute to miraculous healings. Still, I've been humbled by pain as I live with a chronic condition and pay the piper a certain amount of energy each day. What I've learned is that sometimes you eat the bear and sometimes the bear eats you. In other words, sometimes these techniques help and sometimes they don't. When all else fails, let yourself feel exhausted and overwhelmed without judgment. The tears might flow and the fetal position might be a go-to position. This is self-kindness. As Trungpa Rinpoche commented, pain is not punishment and pleasure is not a reward.